My name is Mary Sue Morris and I'm part of the costume department on Still Breathing. So I do a few things in the sense of I would do some sourcing for specific characters. Obviously I've got a costume supervisor in my department. This person would make sure that we're prepped for the next day, and then on set standby an assistant. So I personally have sourced for two characters. It's Trish and Oliver. So what I would normally do, it all depends on what the character's style is. For instance, Trish is very upmarket and very classy. So you would have to create the illusion that they are earning a lot of money, so very crisp, clean edges. So what I would do is I would source specific things like, for instance, white button-up shirts, which I know would look crisp, and then I would hire some elements. So I've got a vintage style, so I like putting vintage elements to it. So that would be hired, some would be sourced, some would be personals. You do whatever you need to in order to create that character. The typical day in the costume department would be getting to set, obviously very early. We would end up being here half an hour before call time, just to make sure that we have prep for that specific day. Once we're done with that, clothing gets steamed, and then your first actors would then arrive in the costume room to get dressed. They would get dressed, move on to set, and then the next person for the next scene would also be pulled in. So it's making sure everything is done for the morning, steam, and then that process just gets repeated throughout. So the easiest to find costume for would have been Tegan, because it's very relevant and current, and she's got a very new, fresh kind of look. So whatever is available in the shops, we ended up, it's very easy sourcing for her. Trish would have been slightly harder because most of her stuff is hired because there's such a unique look to her. And then we also sourced for the year 2001, well, late 90s, 2000. And a lot of that stuff is actually available in the shops now. We've gone back to 90s, Doc Martens, chokers. So it was actually quite easy sourcing for the 90s as well.